welcome back to Riding the Pine. This is our review of games 50 and 51 of the 2020-21 Chicago Blackhawks season. The Blackhawks lost both games to the Panthers by a score of 4-3 in overtime and 5-4 in regulation. But before we get to the reviews, if you could do me a really big favor and hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, helps us out a lot with the channel. And also hit that notifications bell. That way we have to come looking for you. You don't have to come looking for us. You will get a ping notification on your device of choice the minute that we upload our videos. So please also hit that notifications bell. And if you so choose or feel so inclined, if you have any comments about the games, any comments about something I say, please leave a comment down below. I will be happy to interact with you. I am flying solo again today. I think Joe is just kind of checked out at this point. We'll see what transpires with him. I know a lot's been going on with the NFL draft. Baseball has started up, and I know he's getting pulled in a lot of directions, and the games for our Hawks are not really that important anymore since the playoffs are out of reach. So we will see if he will jump back on here soon. But it's just me for today, so you're gonna have to have fun with me. Um, anyways, talking about these two games, reviewing these two games. Um, I think we're continuing to see great things from the people that we want to see good things from. I think that's all that you can ask at this point. We know we're not making the playoffs, so that there's not really any point to um, you know laboring on that fact. I think we want to see Hinostroza continue to perform. We're seeing that. We want to see Hagel continue to perform. We're seeing that. Kalanick, Doc, um, and then even Gaudette. So Gaudette had a goal in the first game of this doubleheader and had a 2 assist night in the final rubber match game. And I have to tell you, I'm going to be curious to see what happens with him because he's not signed for next season. Um, and the Hawks just have all of these depth forwards that, they're not really top six forwards, but they're not, terrible players. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Stan Bowman decides to do with the amount of forwards on this roster. He's going to have a lot of decisions to make. So I'm going to be very curious to see what happens in the offseason. Also, one thing I do want to talk about, so Kevin Lankinen started both games, and the beat writers are really riding him, really, like full on just laying into him. And I'm not entirely sure what it is. Like, why? I don't. Kevin Lankinen was fine last night. He was fine the night before. I don't understand where this is coming from. Like, have you not watched the games? Have you not watched the games all year? The Blackhawks in the last let's say 50 days of the season, so March and April, and now we're now here. This is May 2nd, but let's just take all of March and all of April. Most of the Blackhawks games in that time frame were against Tampa Bay, a Stanley Cup contender, the defending Stanley Cup champion, Carolina, a Stanley Cup contender, Florida, who looks like a Stanley Cup contender, Nashville, who's arguably the hottest team in the league, arguably. Dallas, last year's Stanley Cup finalist. And then what? I think we had 2 games against Detroit. But that's who the Blackhawks have played the last 2 months. And now all these evil fucking keyboard warrior couch potato geniuses that call themselves knowledgeable hockey journalists are out here trying to take down Kevin Lankinen. Why? The Hawks have had probably the toughest schedule of any opponent in the division over the last 2 months. I would say without question they have. And then add into the fact that the Blackhawks are a young team. They are a young team. And not only are they a young team, they're young defensively. Their second oldest defenseman is Connor Murphy, who's what, 27? Zadorov, I believe, is 25. Stillman's 24. Kalynuk, I think, is 23. In his first season, he's played 15 games. Boquist is, 21? Bodan is 21. Like, where do you... I'm sorry, but this shit just doesn't happen overnight, folks. Like, they have to play. That's why Kyle has been begging for Kalynuk to play since the beginning of the year. That's why Kyle has been asking, why are you continuing to play Calvin DeHaan? Not only why are you continuing to play Calvin DeHaan, because he's terrible, but why are you continuing to play Calvin DeHaan when he's fucking injured? There's a lot of things we can complain about with this team. Namely, the coaching decisions. That would be a good place to start. It took Jeremy Colleton, I think, 2 games before he put Kirby Dach with Vinnie Hinostroza and Brandon Hagel. They have great chemistry. Line scored Hagel and Dach on the power play tonight. Why are we not? They scored the game winner in overtime several games ago. They got that power play. They were working together on the power play, scored at least 2/3 of the line. And now we're sitting here and he refuses to put them together. Refuses to put them together. Why? Why? And then after 2 games, I think I'll go back to this because this works and what I was doing wasn't working. Oh, really? Dominic Kubalik, finally where he belongs in the bottom 6 in the third line. That's where he belongs, folks. He's not a top line contributor. He isn't. I don't know how many fucking tweets from the people that went and stole our original logo about how great Dominic Kubalik is. The people are trying to make Dominic Kubalik a thing. He's not. Any competent GM that would come in and replace Stan Bowman, I guarantee you the first move that guy's making is getting rid of Dominic Kubalik. He is overrated, and I don't even know if he's overrated. He's overrated among Blackhawks fans because the rest of the team is so god-awful at offense. The only reason Dominic Kubalik is a thing is because the Blackhawks' top 6 is atrocious. It's atrocious. Kirby Dach was gone most of the season. And again, he's only 20 years old. It's going to take him a while to come around. I'm not blaming that on him. But the only two players in the Blackhawks top six that are legitimate top six players all year, Debrincat and Kane. That's it. You have two legit top six players out of six. You're missing four top six players. Four. Pius Suter, really good player, not really a top six player, not on a good team. Kubalik, one-dimensional player, not a top six player. Dylan Strome, not a top six player. He can't produce when he's not with Alex Debrincat. That's just a fact. At this point, that's a fact. Dylan Strome, as much skill as he has, as much as I like him, the book is out. If he's not with Alex Debrincat, he can't score. He can't. He didn't in Arizona. He came in, they put him with Alex Debrincat, and he scored. Almost a point a game. Then he got injured. Then they started playing with the lines. He had an off season, put only up about like 30-some points last season. And now he's basically replicating that this year. Not a top six player, not with that kind of production. And I'm sorry, but if you're a top six player, you should be able to play with other line mates not named Alex Debrincat. Brandon Hagel, great player. Great player. He's perfect for a third line role. Perfect for it. But he's not a top six. Hinostroza, not a top six, but he's perfect for a third line role. And we've seen that. And now everyone's going to, oh, well, Kyle, Hinostroza's a game. He's got a point per game. Isn't that what you want? Yes, that's what you want. But again, limited sample size. And two, he still doesn't have the skill level for a top six. Why he makes such a great third liner, as does Brandon Hagel, is because both of those players outwork their competition. And then when they outwork their competition with the skill that they do possess, they can score. That's why they're an effective third line. They're not playing the top two lines. They're playing against, weaker lines against the other team. They're perfect for that role. And it's a great place for Kirby Dach to play, I think, and including next year. Next year, that's where I'm putting Dach. If Taves is back, I got him as my number one center. Assuming they bring in Borgstrom, he's my number two center. And then Dach's my number three. And that's not a knock on Dach to say he's going to be the third line center at all. I'm being real with you guys right now. I don't think Dylan Strome and I don't think Dominic Kubalik will be on this roster in 2 years. I think they'll both be gone. They have the same contract. I think both guys get dealt probably at the deadline next year. Strome might get dealt in the offseason. I don't know. But I think both of them are gone. The Hawks have Lucas Reichel coming over who needs a spot. You've still got Alex Nylander. You need to see what he can do. And you've got, like I said at the top of the show, you got all of these top six forwards. Dominic Kubalik might net you a first-round pick. And if you can get a first-round pick in that 2022 draft, you take it. Dominic Kubalik is going to be 27 years old at the end of this contract. He's going to want to get paid, and he isn't worth it. He's not. Again, this is the second year in a row where he's been, going to average about 40, just under 50 points on average. I think he averaged 46, 47 last year, or that's what he ended up with. Was going to probably end up within, 50 or whatever. He's been in a lower pace this year. He doesn't play defense. He's an average skater. And most of his points have come on the power play. He needs, if you can get a first round pick for him, you do it. He's not a future piece of this team. And I don't think Dylan Strome is either. We've seen them. We know what they are. It's time to move on. Hagel, I think, is a huge part of the future of this team. Doc, I think, should be a piece of the future. And I think even Hinostroza, who's look, I was wrong about Hinostroza. If he continues playing like this, he deserves a contract and he deserves an important role on this team moving forward. I didn't think he had this in him, but if he continues to play like this, absolutely. He certainly earned himself a contract for next season. But these people on Twitter and social media trying to make Dominic Kubalik a thing, it's like, oh, what an impressive sophomore campaign. No, it's not impressive. Oh, look at all these stats that I took out without context. Yeah, I can take a bunch of stats too and pull them out my ass and make them look good too. Watch the games, folks. When I call Dominic, I don't call just anybody a sandbagger for no reason. He's a sandbagger. Dominic Kubalik is a player that takes the accomplishment from the people who have the skill to produce his points and goals. That's what he is. He absorbs that. He's a leech. In other words, sandbagger. The other players put the sand in the bag and then he bags it. That's basically what he's doing. I know he scored tonight. Everyone's going to be, oh, he's going to hit 20 goals. He might get to 20 goals again. He's got 17. Yeah. So what? Brett Connolly scored 20 goals too. Has a Stanley Cup ring. And he's dog shit. Okay? You guys got to stop looking at stats and watch the games. Watch the games. Stop being Scott Powers. Stop being Mark Lazarus or John Dietz and go, Vinnie Hinostroza has 7 points in 8 games. We got to give him $6 million. No. Because you know what happens when you have knee-jerk, stupid reactions like that? You give Brian Bickle a 4-year contract at $4 million. And then 2 years later, got to trade Teuvo Teravainen to get rid of Bickle's contract. Shit. Or you give Marcus Kruger $3 million, who's never put up more than 30 points. Something like that. Like, are you crazy? It's a flat cap. You need to manage your cap. You cannot overpay players right now. You shouldn't overpay them at all. But you definitely can't now. Again, Doc scored his second of the season. Kurashev and Hagel were the assists. Goal on the power play. Nice to see Kurashev get another assist, although I don't think he is going to be on the roster next year. I think he'll be back in Rockford. That's assuming everybody's healthy. Alex Debrincat, again, another 2-point night, goal and an assist. What can you say there? He is 2 points away from 50. He's got 48 points now on the season. An amazing season Alex Debrincat has had. Again, Gaudette 2 assists. Gaudette now has 4 points in 3 games for Chicago. Great to see there. Connor Murphy found the score sheet. Doesn't happen a lot. His third of the season. And yeah, that was the recap of the 5-4 game that we are reviewing. 2 goals on the power play for the Hawks, so that's good. Hawks were getting outshot pretty heavily until the end of the game when they decided to dominate. Again, going to coaching. Blackhawks give a goal up in the second period, 7 seconds remaining, and then they give 2 goals up in the first 59 seconds of the third period. That's coaching, folks. Because this is not the first game that's happened. This has happened at least 3 times this year, at least 3 times, maybe more, where a team has either scored in the first minute of the game, the first minute of a period, the last minute of a period. It has to stop. You are not, when you have that kind of mental lapses, there's a problem. It's not acceptable. It's not. By the way, Gustav Forsling, 2 assists tonight for Florida. Remember when he supposedly sucked and nobody would play him? Yeah, about that. This is what I'm talking about, why you can't trade. You just can't. Joe is always talking about moving on, I think, from some of these defensemen, because rightfully so. We've talked about ad nauseum how many young defensive prospects they have. And you can't, because you haven't played them. You haven't seen enough of them. That's why I certainly hope coming into this year's draft that Stan Bowman does not draft another defenseman. Because the more I've thought about it, and this is a defense heavy draft, but the more I've thought about it, you're not going to get a number 1 defenseman with where the Hawks are going to be picking. All the good defensemen are going to go in the top 5. So take what you can at forward. Try to fix your forward. You've got a lot of number 3s and number 4s, maybe a number 2, and your defensive cupboard. Now, this is not the season to be going and drafting another defenseman. Develop the defenseman that you've got, and then maybe either you can trade for a number 1 defenseman, or you can get lucky and draft one in 2 years, because next year you're taking a forward. The forwards are elite next year in the top, about the top 10 or 15 are going to be elite players. So, yes. With that, everybody, thanks. Our traffic to the channel, I've been noticing, is ticking up quite a bit. We appreciate that a lot. And thank you for listening again all season. This has been the first year that we've done this. Through all of it, through the whole season, we're going to have some specials again coming up during the off season. We're going to be doing a lot of our content, just kind of as an aside. Our content is going to start adding a lot other stuff to the channel. We're going to be doing movie reviews, movie critiques, hot toy reviews. So if you're into like collectibles like that, we're going to be adding that to the channel as well. We're going to start incorporating some video into the channel. So the channel, I hope, will continue to grow, and that will help us out here. The more we grow, the more people who subscribe, the more people who listen and like our stuff, the bigger that we're going to be able to get, the more we're going to be able to put into this channel. Um, so again, thank you for the support. We appreciate it. You know, we got 5 games left here. Um, it's been a hell of a ride. We'll be here for those 5 games. And again, we got fans coming into the United Center for the final 2 games of the season. I wish they would have just waited, honestly, at this point. I think it's kind of almost an insult to only have 2 games available when the rest of the league has had, basically 30 to 40% capacity in their buildings for the last month, some longer than the last month. So, yeah, I wish they would have just waited until October. But for those who are lucky enough to get tickets, enjoy yourselves, and hopefully you see some good hockey. And we will be back with you on Monday to review Monday's game, and we will have the review up Tuesday morning. So until next time, everybody, again, enjoy what remains of your weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Let's go, Hawks.